Armstrong, the Dean of Student Success at Kentucky Wesleyan, and I'm here today to welcome you to Transfer Student Orientation. We are excited that you are joining the Wesleyan community, and over the next hour or so, we're going to present information to you that you need to know to be as successful as you can be. Thanks again. Hi, welcome to the Greenwell Library. The Greenwell Library is located on the first floor of the Winchester building, just below the dining hall. The library is open from 7:30 in the morning until about 11 at night. There is always library staff here to help you find resources. And as you may know, most of our resources are electronic at this point. There is a computer lab and another bank of computers here so that you can have access anytime you want. If you're remote and you need access to the library, just go online and you will easily find the link and be able to get the help that you need. At some point while you're at Kentucky Wesleyan, you may need assistance with technology, and so I wanted to make you aware of the help desk. The help desk is here in the Greenwell Library, but the easiest way to reach them is to go online. When you go to the menu at the KWC website, select I am a current student, there'll be a list of options available to you, and one of them will say Help Desk Ticket. And that's what we would like you to do. Go there and fill out what specifically is going on with your computer, with technology, with Brightspace, with your email, and the folks who work at the help desk will be in touch with you lickety-split, and they will help you solve the problem. However, you can come to the door at the help desk, but know that there'll be some social distancing, and they may be actually a little less able to help you, so we prefer that you try the help desk ticket first. Hi, welcome to the Hawker Family Dining Center. This dining center is located on the second floor of the Winchester building, just above the Greenwell Library. All students are welcome to eat in the dining hall. You can pay for your meals with cash, with a debit card, with a credit card, with a personal check, or you can opt for a meal plan. Students who live in residence halls on campus already have a meal plan because it's a room and board plan that they have subscribed to. However, students who are commuters may also purchase a meal plan, and that can be a flex plan or a declining balance plan. What you need to do if you're interested in a meal plan and you're a commuter is go to our business office, which is in the administration building, or speak with Dean Lori Etheridge in the Student Life Suite in the Winchester building. You are welcome to come here, visit with friends. We have socially distanced the space, and so you'll be safe here. Meals are served 7 days a week, and 3 meals a day are served Monday through Friday, and then brunch is served with dinner on Saturday and Sunday. In addition to eating at the Hawker Dining Hall, students may choose to eat at the grill. And the grill offers, as you would expect, made-to-grill items like personal pizzas, burgers, chicken sandwiches, and you can also purchase chips and fruit here. We also have a Starbucks location where you can order your favorite specialty drinks. Again, here you can pay with cash, charge, check, or you may use your meal plan. This space on campus is called by many different names. The C-store, the school store, the snack store. But what's really important is for you to know that 24 hours a day, using your student ID, you can access this space to get a snack. Snacks available are drinks, cookies, donuts, chips, candy, but we also have basics like Tylenol and chapstick. There is a Starbucks machine so you can get single serve coffee, and you can pay here using a credit card, debit card, or if you have a declining balance on your student ID, you can use that. Kentucky Wesleyan has a mailroom that's centrally located in the Winchester Center. All students, faculty, and staff are assigned a mailbox, and you can come here, pay your deposit either here or online, and then you will have a mailbox key and access to your own mailbox. Campus mail is sent this way, and you also can receive outside mail. You also are able to mail packages and pick up packages here in our mailroom. Welcome to the Student Success Center. This is the office that coordinates academic support services on campus. We are located in the Winchester Center. This fall, we only have 4 spaces for students to study in person because most of our support services are going online. And I'll fill you in a little bit more about that later. Hi, this is Dr. Shane Armstrong, Dean of Student Success, and I'm coming to you today from the Student Success Center, which is located in the Winchester building. The Student Success Center exists to provide academic support to students, and so I want to spend some time making you familiar with the different resources that are available to you this fall. First off is peer tutoring. We offer peer tutoring in a variety of subjects. We do focus on 100 and 200 level classes, often general education classes that freshmen and sophomore students may struggle in, but we also offer tutoring in 300 and 400 level classes, especially those that students have found to be especially challenging, especially in the natural sciences. Every morning we publish a schedule of what tutoring is available that day, and so you need to follow us on social media. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're there and you can follow us, and every morning you'll know what tutoring we're providing that day. Also, if you could like us on Facebook, that would be nice, and you can view our tutoring schedule there. This fall, we are providing tutoring remotely. That means that our peer tutors have received extra training to be able to provide high quality tutoring in a virtual setting. So every day, in addition to knowing what subject will be tutored, who the tutor will be, what time they will be available, you will know how to best reach them. So please like and follow us, and so you'll know the different types of tutoring that are available. Now, what if you need tutoring in a class that we don't offer it? We will find a tutor for you. In that situation, I would need you to either contact me, Shane Armstrong, or Professor Molly Gross, who's a faculty member who works in the center, and one of us would reach out to the faculty member in your class, and we would say, a student, not saying who it was, a student in your class needs tutoring. Can you recommend someone who either is taking the class now and doing really well, or someone who took it within the last year and did really well? Then we'll call that person and we will offer them a job, and that job will be to work with you a couple of hours a week for tutoring. So just know that we are very responsive to individual needs through peer tutoring. Again, it's a free service, and we encourage you to take advantage of it. Next up is supplemental instruction. Supplemental instruction is just what it sounds like, supplemental additional instruction. And we have supplemental instructors, which we call SIs, in classes, freshman and sophomore classes, where we know that freshman and sophomore students have traditionally struggled, but we also will have them in some upper division classes. If your faculty member is teaching 100% remotely this semester, you will have a supplemental instructor in your class, and that person will meet with your class at different times during the week. If you have faculty who are teaching through our hybrid system, then your supplemental instructor will also be meeting with you at scheduled times, but they will be scheduling that outside of class time. Again, supplemental instruction, like our peer tutoring, is a free service, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. We get really good feedback that working with an SI is helpful, and that students really like to have that peer contact. Supplemental instructors are juniors and seniors who are majoring in the discipline, who've done very well in their classes, who have a strong working relationship with a faculty member, and who will meet with that faculty member weekly to talk about what they should cover in their study sessions with you. So it's a great resource, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. Lastly, we have peer writing fellows. This is a new position that was developed by Professor Gross, because what she was saying was students, here's an example, who needed to write a paper using APA, American Psychological Association format. And so the student would wait kind of till the last minute, and they would look on our tutoring schedule and see that someone was available to tutor in psychology. And so the student would come with this paper, and really what they needed help with was citations and formatting, and so they would come to see the psychology peer tutor. Well, the psychology peer tutor is really here to tutor content. So they were here to talk about psychological theories and famous psychologists and things like that. They weren't really here to teach and to help the student learn about formatting. And so Professor Gross developed the Peer Writing Fellows program, which is where we have students who have additional training, and they are able to help students who are writing papers in different formats, whether that be MLA or APA. And that will be clearly denoted on the daily tutoring schedule, and so you can see where help is available. I also want to mention that there are 3 faculty who work in the Student Success Center. Myself, my discipline is in English and education. Professor Gross, whose discipline is English, and Dr. Christina Starkey, who is new to us this year, and her discipline is math. She's actually a math specialist. All three of us do spend some time working in the center. Professor Gross and Dr. Starkey are here half-time in the center. The other half of their time they're actually teaching. I'm here full-time, and we are available to work with students as well. So know that that resource, if working with a peer tutor or a supplemental instructor is not where you're comfortable and you'd rather work with one of us, we are absolutely glad to work with you. Student Success Center is also a physical space on campus, and normally we really are the academic hangout, and it's not unusual to have 20, 25 people in here studying, group studies, sitting in comfortable furniture, enjoying one of our conference rooms. Unfortunately, we can't offer that this fall. And so this fall, we will have 4 study spaces in the Student Success Center. We will have the floor taped off. It will be very clear from outside in the hallway. We have an all-glass front. It will be very clear if any of the 4 spaces are available. If any of them are available, please do come in and study. We have disinfectant materials at each table, and so you would just disinfect your table before you sat down, and you would disinfect it as you were leaving. You could stay as long as you wanted. The center doesn't have set hours. We've always said that we are available as long as students need us. So at 2 a.m., if you need somewhere to study, the center may be the place for you. If you would ever arrive and the center is locked and the lights are out, I'd be surprised, but it could happen. Just check in with campus security, tell them I'm here to study in the center. They will open up the space and you can come in. We will have 3 spaces available in our great room for students to study appropriately in a socially distanced manner. We do ask that you wear your mask and again disinfect at the beginning and end of your time at your table. We also will have our smaller conference room that is an available study space, and you can tell from out in the hall if that space is open or not. It does have a whiteboard and a larger table, so for some study projects that might be a better bet. We do have a larger conference room that we're hoping students will have access to in the future again, but for this semester, we will use that as a space that some of our tutors may be doing remote sessions and they may need to use the whiteboard. Student Success Center also provides resource materials to students. So if you need assistance or information about writing papers, about study skills, those types of things, we do have that. We also have resource material for the LSAT, for the MCAT, and for the Praxis test. And we do stock a large amount of study supplies, and we're glad to share those with you. In a normal semester, those are inside the center, and you would come in and just help yourself. Just to make things easier this year, we're going to put them outside in the hallway. Of course, we ask you to take just what you need, but we will have plenty of note cards. We will have highlighters, pens, Post-it notes, scratch paper. We'll have staplers and paper cutters, all those things that you might need on a daily basis. We hope you'll come in to visit at the Student Success Center or take advantage of our resources online. We track our usage every year, and we find that students who study in the Student Success Center or use our services consistently make better grades, and that's of course what we want for you is academic success. That's the whole reason we exist. So should you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. That'll be at the end of this talk. You'll have my contact information, and I would be glad to steer you in the right direction. Thanks.
You've probably heard about the Wesleyan Way in all of our publications and when you might have visited campus. I just want you to know that we do take the Wesleyan Way very seriously. We do everything with honor. We always support each other. We will compete with integrity, and we will love each other. And what that means really, in fancier words, is that we have a family atmosphere on campus, and that we think it's important for our students to be accountable for themselves and accountable for each other while also supporting everybody. And I think that really leads to a great atmosphere on our campus and a community like no other place that I've ever worked or attended school. And so we take that very seriously here, and we're excited that you're going to be a part of the Wesleyan Way and work that into your life as well. Okay, so now it's the professional party pooper part of my job. I can talk to you about student conduct. So all students are responsible for the policies listed in the student handbook, and that student handbook can be found on the KWC website under their current students tab. The 2020-2021 version will be emailed out to students, the link to that. I would ask that you have your students review the entire handbook. It's really riveting reading. They're going to be super excited to read the entire handbook. But just to review it, the student handbook really is our contract with the student. It's very clearly lists our expectations and policies, but I'd really encourage them to look at the code of conduct. I know last year's version, it was on page 49. It'll probably be around the same page on this year's. We're finalizing the edits on that. Those student code of conduct policies cover all sorts of behavior and expectations that happen on campus, both inside the classroom and outside for our students. Two I want to highlight for you. One is we do not allow any alcohol on campus. We are a dry campus regardless of your age. So while the law in Kentucky is that you have to be 21 to possess alcohol, that doesn't matter to us here. So no alcohol is permitted in our residence halls or on campus for football tailgates or those kind of things. There are a few select events that the president holds for alumni and donors, but for all points to consider, there's no alcohol allowed on campus. So we do have some students who might have transferred in from another campus or things, but can't have it in our residence halls. The second thing is that weapons are not allowed on campus. It seems pretty common sense, but we do have some questions sometimes about those who carry a concealed carry license in the state of Kentucky. And while we support your Second Amendment rights and those kind of things, we are private property, so even if you have a concealed carry permit, you still cannot have a weapon on campus of any sort. So just encourage your students to leave those at home, please. So what happens if your student is documented for violating some sort of policy here on campus? What happens is when that faculty staff member or maybe a resident assistant, security guard, when they document that student, the incident report will come to me. At that point, I will contact your student. They will be brought in to meet with me. We'll discuss the circumstances around the incident. They will have the opportunity to, one, either accept responsibility for whatever those charges are, or if they deny responsibility for that, and maybe they feel that the information that I have is incorrect, they can request what's called a student conduct hearing. And so those student conduct hearings involve both faculty and staff members who review the circumstances of the case. The student is allowed to come in and bring witnesses and those things on their behalf, and then a decision is made. What's really important to know about our entire student conduct process is that we aren't here to catch students or to get students in trouble. We think it's important that it's an educational process for them. Part of our whole point at Wesleyan is to help prepare your student for life after graduation. And part of that is being a responsible citizen. And there's expectations, policies, and laws out in the community. We want them to learn that that's just a part of who they need to be in today's world. And so you'll see that if your student is held responsible for something, we don't call it guilty, they're held responsible or not responsible. The kind of sanctions and consequences that they will have will, for the most part, be very educational. So they might have to write a paper, do some service. Very rarely there are some fines involved because we have found that that is a deterrent for some students. Or there might be some restitution if they've damaged something or stolen something, they might have to repay that. There's some online modules they would have to complete for an alcohol violation, but it really is an educational process and we want to help your students learn. There are a few things that will get them automatically suspended or removed from the college permanently, and so that would be any sort of assault of another person, selling drugs, so anything that directly harms another person. And if your student is a student athlete, we want you to know that their coaches will be made aware of policy violations on campus. We have found for student athletes sometimes, first of all, the coach wants to know, of course, what their team is, and the athletic department has policies related to student conduct as well. But the coaches want to know, and sometimes that's more of a deterrent for students, honestly, for their coaches to know, and they don't want to use that athletic time. So we do involve coaches in our student conduct process. And the last thing I want to discuss really shortly with you is the COVID-19 stuff and the Panther Promise, which we've asked your student to sign. They received this via email as an attachment, and there's also a link that we're asking all students to go and fill out the Panther Promise. If a student does not complete and sign the Panther Promise, they will not be permitted to be on campus for classes or in the residence halls. So please make sure your student reviews this. We thought it was important for our students to know what our expectations are going to be of them before they arrive on campus. We want students here. We're really excited about this semester. We have missed having students on campus since March. But in order for this semester and this year to be successful, we all have to be accountable and responsible to each other. And so that's what the Panther Promise is really about. So it asks them to make 3 general promises. One, that they're going to do what it takes to protect themselves, that they're going to do what it takes to protect others, and that they're going to do what it takes to protect the community. So some of those things I want you to make sure you hone in on. That protect themselves, we're going to ask that students monitor themselves daily for any sort of symptoms of COVID-19. Of course, if there's a fever, headache, any sort of stomach issues that I will not discuss on camera. They're also going to be asked to fill out this daily health check every morning via the website. There'll be some QR codes around campus. And so they're going to have to fill that out every morning, indicating if they've had symptoms or not. They'll get a green if they're able to come to campus or go to class. They're going to have to flash that to their professors before they enter a classroom. So that's going to be very important that our students are honest on those and do complete those every day. We want them to wash their hands. And then we're also asking students not to attend or host any sort of gatherings off campus that have, a large amount of people and don't allow for social distancing. The last thing we want to hear is about parties and things off campus because those students, for like a temporary good time, are actually putting the entire campus community in danger, and so we don't want that to happen. The second thing is that, of course, we're asking our students to protect others. One of the biggest, most noticeable things is that we're going to be asking students to wear masks and face coverings while they're on campus. Every student is going to be receiving 2 of these in a little health and safety pack when they arrive on campus. We ask that students also bring and purchase additional masks because we want you to wear a different mask every day and to make sure you're washing those, but you will receive 2. And so anytime that you are indoors on campus, except in your residence hall room, or if you are outside and social distancing is not able to happen, we do expect you to be wearing a face covering. And then the second thing to protect others that we've had a lot of questions about is that we are not going to allow guests on campus. And so for our residential students specifically, non-residential students will not be allowed in the residence halls this year, except during that 2-hour move-in slot that you should be, your student should have received via email. And that's just because we have made clear expectations for our students, and we don't want outside people from the outside community coming in the residence halls and putting our students at risk. The third thing is to protect the community. We do have some isolation rooms on campus if any of our residential students were to test positive or to have come in contact with somebody who tested positive, and the health department has asked to quarantine or isolate them. We do have some spaces on campus. So one of the things we're going to ask students to protect the community is that if they are asked to isolate or quarantine, that they follow our directions, that they go to those spaces, that they have the to-go bag or the grab-and-go bag, I forget what it's called, but your students, residential students, received a list of a bag that we would just like for them to keep in their room that has some extra clothing and some other things, toiletries and things, so that if they do have to go into isolation, they can get that bag and go, no questions asked. So it's important that students follow those requests that we have both from us and the health department. We also ask that students are limiting their travel outside of the Owensboro area. We don't want students going out of state, going home every weekend, those kind of things, because that's just opening up the campus to more potential of exposure. So we do ask that students stay here on campus in the Owensboro area and in this community to keep each other safe. And then the last thing that's probably going to be the hardest for students, but something that's really important, is to hold each other accountable. If a student hears somebody else talking about a party, or they see somebody on campus not wearing a mask when they're supposed to, we really want them to feel comfortable asking that student to put on a mask, or helping us in our office to become aware of some of those violations so that we can make sure that our community stays safe. Another thing I forgot to mention is that all students will be receiving one of these 1.8 fluid ounce Wesleyan hand sanitizers. It's got a nice carabiner, so they can put it on a keychain or a backpack, so they always have hand sanitizer. We have some other things that are happening on campus. You can see our entire plan on our COVID-19 website. We have upped our disinfecting and sanitation on campus. We've hired some additional maintenance and housekeeping staff to help us keep up with that. There's going to be tons of signage, the social distancing things on the floor. We have an entire plan. You can read that entire document, but please reach out to us if you have any questions.
Today I want to talk to you about student engagement, leadership, and fraternity and sorority life here on campus. As a part of my responsibilities, I oversee all of our registered student organizations and the fraternity and sorority community. Both our registered student organizations and fraternity and sorority life provide students with lots of ways to engage with others in the Owensboro community outside of the classroom. Currently, we have over 30 active student organizations, such as the Archery Club, Harry Potter Club, American Medical Student Association is one of the newest ones that we've had recently, Student Government Association, Student Activities Programming Board, many more. There's all kinds of organizations. If a student finds that there's not an organization here, the unique opportunity that we have here at Wesleyan is that they can start their own organization with a group of other students. So you may wonder why someone should get involved. I like to refer to John Gardner's book, Your College Experience, Strategies for Success, where he identifies 9 different benefits of the campus and community involvement. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those. One, your students will be able to meet people by getting involved outside of the classroom. They'll meet others with interesting perspectives, diverse backgrounds. They'll maybe find someone who may share a common interest and become their friend. So it's really important that they get involved in our organizations or just going to the different events that we plan outside of class. They'll also be able to get the most out of their college experience. It'll help them learn time management and balancing curricular and co-curricular experiences. They'll become more aware of and participating in the college community and its unique experiences. They have the opportunity to get connected with groups that work with the community a lot, so it's definitely a plus for them to get involved. By getting involved, they'll also be able to feel a little bit home faster at Wesleyan. We want Kentucky Wesleyan to be their home away from home, and so by getting involved in an organization or going to activities, they'll be able to feel needed and valued and get that home experience. They'll be able to invest in themselves and the campus and community experiences that are offered. The last one I want to touch on, it'll also help them manage stress, getting involved in organizations or activities. It'll help create different outlets to channel that stress. I know we have some athletes, and so athletics really helps them get their stress out, and so students, athletes and non-athletes, by joining organizations, they have other avenues to kind of relieve that stress as well. It'll also help them develop healthy lifestyles in managing organizations and academics. When active students look back on their college experience, they have fond memories of their activities inside and outside the classroom. They attest to learning and the satisfaction experienced through involvement. By combining these skills you develop through campus and community involvement with the knowledge they learn in the classroom, they become much better prepared for their future. It is statistically proven that students that are involved typically have better grades than those uninvolved. The organizations and athletic teams your students become a part of act as a support network, and they can help them in classes that other members or teammates might have taken in the past. They can get help. Someone could tutor them within that class, or they could let them know kind of what to expect with the professor. So it's really good for them to get involved and meet new people, because that'll help them learn about their classes and their instructors as well on campus. During my time as an undergrad, I didn't get involved in organizations or go to many activities around campus right away. For my first semester, I just kind of concentrated on class. Looking back, I wish I would have gotten involved right away. There's so much value and individual growth you can get from getting involved. Once I started to attend campus activities and join student organizations, I kind of felt that sense of relief because I wasn't always just concentrating on class. I had ways to relieve my stress and meet new people and get out there and get involved. I was able to be a part of those events or activities where I could leave my studies behind in my room and have some fun. We have what's called KW Connect, where they can see all of our student organizations that are happening, all of the events that have been registered. So it's a really cool website that we have specifically for student organizations on campus.
for those students who will be living with us on campus this fall. We have a wonderful staff comprised of part-time professional resident directors and part-time peer resident assistants, and their job is to help our students, our residential students, navigate that time that they're in the halls and in the community. They're here to answer any questions that they have and to help get them connected on campus and really just serve as an all-around resource for them. We know that lots of folks have questions about roommates and what happens if my student doesn't like their roommate or wants to switch and live with a friend. Our staff has been trained on having difficult conversations with students and really being able to help them describe the kind of living experience that will help them be successful while they're here at Kentucky Wesleyan and while they're living with us. We have roommate agreements, and at the end of the day, if it is just not working out between two people, I invite them to come speak with me, and we are happy to look and see what kind of accommodations and other options are available to them. Our residence halls have different themes, and we have some learning communities on campus. So if your student is involved in one of the learning communities, they're going to be connected with faculty and staff who are going to have some very intentional opportunities for them to have some meaningful engagement outside of the classroom and within the Kentucky Wesleyan community. All of our residential students have meal plans, and the meal plan is included in the cost of the residence hall room, so you're not going to see an additional charge with that. And our students have the first week of class to be able to adjust and change that meal plan. We go ahead and we preload them with the 12 meals per week and the $350 flex dollars for the semester, because first, that's the meal plan that they are most comfortable with and that the students tend to like and gravitate toward the most. However, we really want students to get here and to be able to get a glimpse of their schedule, and within that first week of class, I send out an email with a quick Google form that asks students, our residential students, if they would like to change or adjust their meal plan, and they just have to go on there and select the new meal plan. It's very simple, very easy for them. We're happy to answer any questions that they have. For our commuter students, we have some wonderful commuter meal plan options for them as well, and in that email that I send out, I list what those options are, and if they're interested in signing up or opting into one of those meal plans, they just need to come see myself or the campus cashier, and we're happy to get them situated and squared away. We are so excited to have all of our students, both residential and commuter, on campus with us this fall. We're excited to have the energy and the liveliness back to our campus with them here, and we look forward to seeing them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Terry Petzold. I'm the Director of Counseling at Kentucky Wesleyan College. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and credentialed as a temporary certified drug and alcohol counselor. My office is located in the Barnard Administration Building, 2 doors down from Nurse Tanya on the 2nd floor. It's very convenient for students, and I'm located in room 209B. Now, you may wonder why it's necessary to have a clinical therapist on campus. The simple answer is stress happens. Think about your own experiences with stress. Stress affects how you think and feel, the way you make decisions, and your relationships with other people, friends, family, coworkers. And I'm sure at some point in your life, stress has kept you up at night. Counseling services is available to all students who experience any type of distress that is keeping them from becoming successful in their schoolwork, in their sport, or in their relationships with others. Stress, worry, the inability to balance competing time demands, conflicts in relationships can lead to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and substance use very, very quickly. Mental health services, I meet with students individually. If they're having difficulty in relationships, I meet with couples and groups as well. Services that are provided to students are protected by HIPAA, so services are strictly confidential. Fees for services are part of their health and wellness fees. So students are already paying for these services. There's no additional fee that's going to be charged to them, and I do not bill insurance at all. Once again, the Counseling Services Office is located in the second floor of the administration building in room 209B. Most of the students' classes will take place in that building, so it's really convenient for the student to stop in there. Appointments take about an hour. The number of sessions, that depends on the student, and I'll be working that out with the student themselves. Sometimes students see me one time, while others set up multiple appointments. I work with each student, and I really try to accommodate their schedule so they don't miss class or they don't miss practice. Day, evening, and weekend appointments are available. Typically I'm there during the daytime, so the evening and weekend appointments will be set up on a case-by-case basis. My phone number, for those of you taking notes, is 270-852-3183. This year I'm having a graduate student intern from Western Kentucky University working with me. She'll be working one-on-one with students, and she'll be developing groups for students based on students' needs and to continue decreasing the stigma of mental health on campus. We also have a counseling services challenge that we put out to students each year. This empowers them to become more aware of the benefits of mental health wellness and to take charge of their own mental health. We call our challenge You Be the Difference. You be, and then the difference. There are 5 tasks to this challenge, and we take Monday through Friday as our precursor to it. So Monday we call Motivation Monday, and on Monday we challenge the students to incorporate 30 minutes of exercise into their day. This will be very easy for those of who are student athletes. Tuesday we call Let's Talk Tuesday, and we motivate students to talk rather than text their friends and family. Students are so geared into the texting that we want them to experience more dialogue with individuals. Wednesday, we entitled Watchful Words Wednesday, which helps students become more aware of the words they speak, and will challenge them to stop and think about those words before they speak them, and to speak kind and positive words to others. Thursday, we call Thoughtful Thursday. This will allow students to become more mindful of what they are thinking. Scientists tell us that 85% of our thoughts are negative. And so this allows students to realize that they do have these negative thoughts and maybe to turn them into more positive thinking. Friday we call Fresh Friday. And Fresh Friday is where we challenge students to incorporate fresh fruits and vegetables into each day. So that's our counseling challenge that we will be giving students shortly after they come on campus. Counseling Services has also joined with Health Services in providing a Health and Wellness Week that's going to be coming up in September. Another program we offer is Mental Health First Aid, which is a national program that teaches skills on how to respond to people in distress. This program has been taught nationally to police, firefighters, first responders, and educators. Currently, 102 administrators, coaches, and student leaders are mental health first aid trained. QPR training is another training we offer. It's called Question, Persuade, and Refer. And this program is designed to reduce suicidal behavior through suicide prevention training. Over 130 student leaders, faculty, and staff have already been trained on campus in QPR. We also offer pop-up workshops that take place. They take place periodically. We cover various topics such as stress, anxiety, grief and loss, relationships, substance use awareness, and test anxiety. So these are just a few topics that are offered or have been offered in the past, and we'll be continuing to offer these workshops.
Armstrong again, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the logistics of starting classes at Kentucky Wesleyan. First off, I hope you've been checking your Kentucky Wesleyan email. Everybody has an email account, and your email address is your first name, period, your last name, at kwc.edu. Okay. And when you check your email for the first time, your password is the last 4 digits of your social security number. Now, as soon as you check your email the first time, please change your password, okay, and make it something private that you can remember. But everyone has that same format. All of your incoming classmates have that same format for their email address should you need to reach someone. Not all faculty have that address. I came to the college 6 years ago, and my email address is s.armstrong. So a little different, but for everyone who's entering now and who's entered in the last 2 or 3 years, it's first name dot last name at kwc.edu. Now, what if you can't even find your email? That's okay. Go to the website, go to the top where it says I am a/an. The drop-down box gives you the option to choose current student. Select that, and then a list will come up on the left side of your screen. Scroll down till you get to email, and that's where you'll put in your username and your password. I know that most students feel like email is so 1995. Unfortunately, this is how the college will direct all official communication to you. You have to check it every day. That's just part of being here. And people saying, I just don't check it, or I only check my personal one, will be problematic, because that is not where information from the college is going to go. So if the registrar needs to reach you, if financial aid needs to reach you, they're going to send that to your Kentucky Wesleyan email address. So please do check it. I know some people can forward it onto their personal email. Feel free to do that, but you really must look at it every day. Now, let's talk a little bit about your classes. As a transfer student, you were assigned to an academic advisor who is in your discipline. If you are not decided as to a major, you were assigned to a specific advisor who has worked with undecided students before, and you'll stay with them until you declare a major. Those of you who have declared a major, you've been assigned to someone in your discipline, and that person should have already worked with you before you've arrived to develop a schedule. But probably that communication has been all through email, maybe a Zoom call, maybe a phone call, and so I just wanted to make sure that you knew where faculty offices are located, and also that you are ready to actually physically attend classes by knowing what buildings are abbreviated which way on your schedule. Let me back up. When you're in the student portal, you can get a copy of your class schedule, and it will tell you what days your class meets and what times your class meet. And it will give you an abbreviation so that you know what building the classes are in. The majority of classes meet in the Barnard Administration Building, which is abbreviated ADM. Okay? Business classes are on the 5th floor. Education classes tend to be on the 3rd floor. History and English and religion and other classes spread out throughout the building. Okay? So the Administration Building, ADM, there will be one staircase that is clearly designated up and one that is designated down. And you may have noticed on your class schedule that your classes aren't starting at necessarily the times you expected. If you signed up for an 11 o'clock class, it may be starting at 10:50. Okay? And this is so that we can stagger the classes and help people with social distancing. If you have classes in the Ralph Center, which is the arts center for campus, so if you have theater classes, music classes, if you have communication classes or art classes, you will be going to the Ralph Arts Center, RAC. Again, people on campus just call it Ralph. It is located on the far side of campus. It's not very far away. You can be there in just a couple minutes, but know that that's what that stands for. If you have science classes, most likely they will be meeting in the U Hock Han Science Center. Okay, and that will be designated with a, I believe it's a HSC on your schedule, Han Science Center. Okay. If you have classes in the Winchester Center, that's unusual, but this year there may be, WIN, Winchester. And some of you may have classes in Kendall Hall. Now, Kendall Hall is a residence hall on campus, but they have a classroom in the basement. And if you have a class there, it will say on your schedule KEN, Kendall. And if you have a class in that building, you will have access to that building to be able to get in. Lastly, is the Woodward Health and Recreation Center, which students on campus call the HRC. That's where Jones Gym is. That's where you'll take exercise science classes, some education classes. So those are what all the abbreviations mean on campus, should you be looking at your schedule and wonder where you are supposed to be. A little bit about the culture at Kentucky Wesleyan. I don't know where you're transferring from. I know that the last institution I worked at was on the West Coast, and it was very informal. Faculty regularly wore Hawaiian shirts and shorts and Birkenstocks, and it was warm year-round, and so it was just kind of a casual vibe. Out there, students called some faculty by their first names. That's not the culture at Kentucky Wesleyan. The culture at Kentucky Wesleyan is that faculty are called professor if they do not have a doctorate, and doctor if they do have a doctorate. If in doubt, go with professor. Unless a faculty member specifically says you can call them by their first name, occasionally that will happen. That's just not done here. And faculty do have a dress code, and they will be professionally dressed. Other basics about being on campus, you must have a parking permit. You can get that online. Again, go to the I Am on the navigation tool. Current student, you'll be able to find your parking permit there. They will not be ticketing folks in the first week or so, so you've got a little bit of time. There's no charge for a parking pass. We just need to know who's on campus, so please do take care of that in a timely manner. This is an unusual semester for us. Luckily, in the Student Success Center, last fall, Professor Molly Gross decided to pilot using Zoom to tutor students. So we were in a great situation in the spring when we actually had to suddenly mobilize to do that. Know that faculty and staff spent from March through April learning how to teach online, and that most of us have taken a class over the summer to be better online instructors. Having said that, there will be people who are working 100% remotely. Know that those folks all have a plan in place to be available to you, to be reachable by phone or by text, through Teams and Microsoft, or through email. People will be especially attentive, especially to their email. So know that even though a faculty or staff member may not physically be on campus, they are in fact working remotely somewhere else and still very much present to support you.